Great. Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. It's an incredibly exciting time in the industry for all of you, and frankly, for us at HP. And what I want to do over the next 20 minutes or so is outline to you the opportunities that we see and the role and importance that you have in that journey together. And of course, I got to put some legalese in front of the comments that I'm about to make. But the first thing I want to do is, there are only two companies in the IT industry that have survived for 75 years. And this year is our 75th anniversary. And through those 75 years, a hallmark of what we've been able to do is innovate. That is what we love to do. Innovate to deliver great customer outcomes. But that innovation doesn't work without you. Together, we have delivered tens of billions of dollars of customer value around the globe. And if there is any company that views the channel as core to its success, it is HP. We think of ourselves as catalysts, as enablers. We think of you as the craftsmen, as the finished carpenters that build and deliver those solutions. And as you sit here today and you look across the cityscape of Shanghai and you think about what is the most vibrant economic zone in the world, there is so much value that together we can and must deliver. We can and must deliver it because the reality is, whether you call it Platform 2 to Platform 3, or as we at HP call it, the new style of IT, there's fundamentally a different approach to IT emerging. Now, we're an industry that loves hyperbole. We love to use broad, vacuous terms like cloud or big data or IoT. But the reality is that a fundamental new way of architecting and monetizing information technology in the industry is emerging. Where code is written, how code is written, how it is monetized, what the underlying fabric and infrastructure is. All of us in this room have grown up with a set of assumptions around that, and we've grown up and architected in a client-server world. Sure, the internet impacted, but it was much more a static publishing platform and expressed at the web tier than re-architecting those business models and those architectures. And for the next 10 or 15 years, it will get built out. It will get built out because there is a better way. There are better ways to deliver lower cost. There are better ways to deliver the innovation that the businesses need. Nick talked about when Harry met Sally. And Harry wants speed, he wants agility, he wants lower cost, and Sally can't be a bottleneck. If you go back to the early 90s, the IT organization was under enormous pressure to go faster. My first job out of college was working on a product that didn't exist yet, but it was a product that had a basic premise, that people wanted a word processor and a spreadsheet and a presentation graphics package together, that people someday were going to cut, copy, and paste, that they really wanted WYSIWYG printing. That product became Office. And the pressure and creation of Office came not from IT, but it came from the business. The fact that they could put a 5 1/4 floppy disk in and install an application was a big breakthrough. Today, that same pressure exists on IT to move with greater speed and to deliver the innovation that those businesses and those functions so desperately need. And that's where you come in, and that's where we come in, because there is a whole heck of a lot of work to do. So, what are we going to do about it? You might have noticed we had a little news a couple weeks ago. We decided to take a Fortune 10 company and break it into two. Why did we do that? In the last 2.5 years, Hewlett-Packard has tripled its market cap, doubled its free cash flow, increased in constant dollars, and on a percentage basis, its R&D significantly. And we're just getting started. The reason that we broke these two into two is to go faster. There's a very simple adage that says, if you simplify and you focus, you go faster. And that's what we're doing. We've got great leaders. We've got continuity of leadership. And that's important, I know, to you, because you want to know that the leadership understands the importance of the channel and the opportunity of what we can do together. In doing this, we get two Fortune 50 companies, a Fortune number 48 and a Fortune number 49 company with strong market positions, with a great innovation agenda, and as you can see, plenty of free cash flow to invest to ensure that you've got the right innovations and that together we can deliver the right business outcomes for and with you. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. Printing and personal systems. There's been a while where people said, are you a consumer? Are you a consumer or are you a business professional? You're both, right? The reality is, I want something that empowers people to create, to interact, and to inspire like never before, but I don't want to do it just at home or just at work or when I'm at a desk. I want to do it across all three. Hewlett-Packard has consumer DNA, but it can deliver that consumer quality experience without compromise in the enterprise. And the core of what we want to do in Hewlett-Packard Inc. is build off of our success in printing and in personal systems to do just that. We're going to show you a video in a second of an incredible innovation that we announced last week that gives you a sense of what you do when you take a step back and you reimagine the on-ramp and the off-ramp to the digital world with the printing and PC assets that we have. As you exploit us and take advantage of us, think about it in the context of a company that knows how to do consumer but does it without compromise in the enterprise. A company that ships 100 million PCs and printers every year, a PC and a printer every 3 seconds. So we're at scale, we have that learning, and we can bring that value to all of your customers. Let's talk a little bit about Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Here, the core opportunity that we see is the reality is that today, there is still a heck of a lot more efficiency that we've got to deliver for traditional IT. There's still a few mainframes out there. There are a lot of customers struggling to effectively manage and maintain their traditional apps. Ensure that their network and their storage and their underlying infrastructure platforms are as efficient as possible. But, and it's an important but, they need to seamlessly transition to that new style of IT. Take advantage of the agility and the simplicity that it affords. But it's very important that it is seamless. Customers can't simply abandon the old and start again. Trillions and trillions of dollars of investment have been made in that existing, and we are in the business of enabling that bridge and that transition. We provide that bridge, we provide those capabilities across 4 broad spectrums. The first is the infrastructure, the foundation for that new style of IT, because you've got to have the right foundation to enable the applications and web services of that new style. We have a huge services practice. That services practice helps customers in that journey. That services practice provides the reference design, the architectures, and the enablement to activate you so that you can build out practices more profitably and more quickly. Software. The software that takes and turns that data set, whether it be application performance data or the market-leading security eventing and monitoring tool used by 9 of the 10 largest banks in the world, taking these data sets and translating it into actionable insight that lets customers and you run IT more efficiently. Finally, it is about the cloud. The cloud, not as a destination, as Amazon might characterize it, but as a way of delivering. A delivery that is about self-service. A delivery that is about multi-tenancy. A delivery that is about an outcome-based business model. And like my counterparts highlighted earlier, a world that is not a destination and it is one of choice, on-premise or off-premise. It is not a black box, but a set of open standards that enable interoperability. When you look at what we've been doing against this agenda, this is just the last 12 months. It's been a very busy and exciting 12 months for HP, and this is just within the enterprise group that I run. We are innovating and we are accelerating. Just look across the top in terms of what we've done with OneView. OneView is a great asset for you in the partner ecosystem because the reality is having a management plane below the hypervisor to be able to support and manage across the brittle silos of server, storage, and networking is a huge, huge need. We have developed and shipped that OneView asset. It's an open set of interfaces that can natively support ourselves and any other vendor across compute, storage, and networking. Look what we've done in the cloud. Helion. HP was the first large cap technology company to bet on Helion. The first large cap company, in fact, to invest, and today the OpenStack project runs in HP's cloud. In the Juno release that was referenced earlier, HP is the leader not only in code contributions, but in design and project leaders. On the infrastructure side, you know us well as an innovator across all of the different dimensions. In storage, we're in the mid-tier SAN. We've passed EMC as the market leader in, for example, across Europe and more recently in Canada. In servers, servers is a $38 billion total addressable market, and we're mid-stride and refreshing a product portfolio that this year we will refresh about 35 billion of that TAM. We'll refresh it to help you accelerate your growth. We'll refresh it so that we've got exactly the right product for that Windows Server 2003 end-of-life opportunity that is upon us. So yes, we are innovating, providing the basic foundation so that you and I together can go to market profitably. So what I thought I'd do now is turn it back over to you guys for questions. But as you listen to us, one of the things that we are incredibly excited about is our ability to innovate for and with you so that we can deliver some of these outcomes. Whether it be in servers, whether it be in cloud, whether it be in networking, software, or storage, but also in Sprout. So let's go ahead and roll the Sprout video as I invite Nick Lazaridis up to stage from our Printing and Personal Systems group and Alistair to answer a few questions. Come on up, guys.
Hands. They've always done amazing things. They helped us touch the sky and explore what's beyond it. They create beauty, emotion, wonder, hope, joy. They can bring imagination to life, save a life, and change the world. We believe all hands can do something extraordinary, and we can't wait to see what you'll do with yours. Roll up your sleeves and create like never before. Introducing Sprout by HP.
Great, thank you guys. Let me start off with Sprout, because obviously that's a big topic and an interesting product for HP. What's the opportunity for partners? When will it be available in Asia Pacific?
You want to start, Nick?
I guess that's for you.
Yeah, sure. So as Alistair said, we announced the product. It's the beginning of a new category for us. And so it is what we call immersive computing, and it's part of a larger blended reality ecosystem that is really category creation. Back to Bill's comments earlier, we are about innovation. It's in our DNA. And Sprout is all about transferring thought into being really expressive faster than we've ever done before. I think hopefully many of you have seen the product.
How many of you guys have seen a demo or a video of it? Oh boy, we
got work to do. So look, Sprout was launched, just to answer the question, was launched officially last week. It will be available in the US only for a couple of months. Moving into 2015, it will start to come online across many of our regions and countries around the world. It'll be UK first, and then it'll expand out. So we expect to see Sprout in Asia towards the end of next year, actually. It's a very niche, very specific product. It's not a $300 PC. It's more like an $1,800 immersive computing experience. And part of that ecosystem will also be 3D printing, and so that's part of the category creation.
So that will sorry.
The one thing, just to sort of build on, so the background, I ran the development of the Windows client business for a bunch of years, and it was really fun. We showed a prototype of it to both Intel and Microsoft. This would have been about a year ago. And they said, wow, that is so fantastic. We want to go in and be design partners for and with you. And it's a great example of where, when you think out of the box and you say, okay, we've got unlimited compute power, we've got the ability to scan, we now have very natural touch interfaces as an input model. How do you create content in a different way? It's like you're doing your Christmas card, or you're doing a newsletter, and the reality is you're intersecting back and forth between the physical and the digital world, and it's really clumsy. And what an absolutely fantastic team, both from the research organization and then from the personal systems, got together and said, all right, we're going to reimagine one of these systems. And that is the opportunity that we get to pursue every single day as we serve and support you, whether it be in HP Inc., and there's all sorts of partner opportunities in that, particularly in some vertical segments. And then the same is true on the server side in terms of how we've reimagined the compute architecture a couple different ways just in the last year. First is in the moonshot architecture, and in the second, more recently, in what we've done in the high-performance computing space with Apollo.
Okay. We've got lots of questions coming in, particularly on the split, not surprisingly. Let's start. After the split, how will common resources like Unison and the Partner One program be managed? A lot of partners have over recent times started to see the benefits of one HP. How can you keep that going when the companies will?
It's a great. I'll start, Nick, and then I'll hand it to you. I think just as you all think of this in principle, the reality is that while we are two companies, those two companies will work together in any way that creates competitive advantage for us and better customer outcomes for the customer, and in this case, you. So for example, the feedback around Unison has been very, very good. That's a shared platform. That's a platform that then we persist and we accelerate based on the fact that you're giving us feedback that says, it's great, and you guys should do it together. I'll give you another example. We have competitive advantage in certain areas in the supply chain by working together between particularly our personal systems and server group. So we have put in place a long-term strategic relationship between the two companies to ensure that competitive advantage and that differentiation flows into you in the form of more cost-effective compute, be it in a client device or a server device.
Sure. So look, I think you've all heard from all the partners, all the speakers here. Everyone's been sprouting numbers. Sorry, I had to put the joke in there. But and on the PPS side today, 85% of our business is from the channel. And so, channel is what we do. And it's part of our DNA, as is innovation. And so we're going to continue on great partner programs, strengthening them. We are going to get stronger. We're probably going to be a little bit unique, I'd say. There's probably going to be partner programs on both sides that are aligned more to the industries that we serve, a little bit different moving forward. But if anything, you should be expecting faster, cleaner, and more aligned programs from both Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and HP Inc.
Yeah, I mean, just to build on that, I mean, our core premise in the separation is that focus delivers speed. And as we are focusing, there'll be specific things that Nick and his team will want on printing and personal systems that will be different, and this affords that potential. But clearly the feedback that you've given, for example, on Unison is, hey, having that underlying construct is very useful for us, and we hear that loud and clear, and we'll look forward to persisting it.
Okay. We have quite a specific one, Nick. I think this one for you. Why was HP Rewards, or why were HP Rewards watered down so much for those of us moving high volume printing and supplies compared to last year? It's a huge reduction.
Well, that's very
Is that one
the specific one. I actually don't have an answer to. But you know, I'd love to take the question offline and come back to people who are concerned about it. I haven't seen it before, so apologies.
Okay. Nicole, you want to take that?
So smartwatch is a hot topic recently. There is questions on smartwatch. 听说惠普会发布智能手表，是真的吗？HP will launch a smartwatch. Is it true?
It's true. Yeah, we announced it a couple of months ago, and I think it's actually online either this week or next week. It's going online. It's on sale at gilt.com, which is a US retailer, high-end premium retailer. So we have launched, yes.
When do we expect to see it in China?
No date as of yet. Again, it's very similar to what we've done with Sprout and 3D printing. So back to the innovation, the DNA of innovation. We are innovating. We are testing markets. We don't want to have a Me Too product. You know, it's the first time a smartwatch vendor has collaborated with a high-end fashion brand. And so we're testing, small test in the market. It's done with Michael Bastian, who is a very well thought of designer in the US and actually globally. And so we're planning to see how quickly we can take that product and make it globally. But for now, it's more of a test in one very large market, being the US.
And obviously this is, you know, more of a consumer play, but do you think that wearables, these kind of devices, do they represent an opportunity for, you know, for partners in the room?
Yeah, look, I mean, personally, I do. I think we have to be careful. Everybody, I think most partners, and you know, many of you are partners of PPS. You know, you've asked about smartphones and other devices that have come online in the last few years. We have to be careful. We want to play where there's money, where there's profitability. As do you. You need to be profitable. And there are some segments of the market that you know, a lot of vendors jump into very quickly, and therefore there's confusion in the channel. There's lack of profitability in the channel. And it's kind of like jumping into tablets right now. If you haven't been in tablets since day one or day 5, there is very little margin to be had. And our business is about making money for our partners, distributors, and for ourselves. And so we'll keep a watch on it. I mean, you know, the Internet of Things, obviously very important. Wearable technology, we are looking at things.
Right.
We're not going to jump headlong into a market that's extremely crowded and not profitable for our partner network.
You know, just to build on Nick's point is, as you evaluate us and the range of partners, and Nick's remarks earlier really struck a nerve with me as well. We do an enormous amount of work profiling out what we think the profitability of a segment will be. And then correspondingly, given that profitability, how and where partners play. So, you know, as you listen to Nick talk, in the specific segments that Printing and Personal Systems is playing, we see a role of a partner ecosystem. We think it's part of our differentiation to you and to our mutual customers. The same thing is true in the businesses that we do. When we look across, for example, what we're doing, we'll just use servers as an example. We're delivering the broadest, most innovative server portfolio of any company in the market, full stop. But when you double click beneath it, it is not only what we do specifically with the server. It's how, for example, that server is accessorized, both in the form of software and our services. Great example of this is what we've done with VSA and our virtual storage appliance that comes alongside our ProLiant servers. Every time those higher end ProLiant servers go out, they attach with a VSA node. That VSA node is effectively seeded for free that then you can turn around and activate both with services engagement and additional software margin. The same is true as what we do with 3PAR. 3PAR is the fastest growing mid-tier array in the marketplace. And as you go in and you dislodge and you deliver the 3PAR system, the economics are done in such a way so that it is not only selling 3PAR, it's selling the backup, recovery, and archiving workload with it, and having services attached. So as you interact with us, know that we are sitting there very carefully and thoughtfully trying to ensure that your FSC and your transactional margin is added by being able to accessorize effectively.
Okay, well, extending the point on servers, what happens to low-end servers after the separation? Do you see an alignment with the PC business model? Would HP consider placing low-end x86 with HP Inc.?
So the short answer is we've looked at it carefully, and the answer is no. The server market is actually quite distinct, both in the engineering and in the route to market. The low end today, there's a tower server market, which is declining at about 5%. And what we find on the tower side is it's more of an SMB play. The tower really, that support and maintenance contract around it is quite different than what we would do on a PC. And then the other side of the low end is actually low end in terms of cost and margin structures in the rack server space, in the server racks. And those rackable servers tend to go in actually upper market, so into the service provider segments, and that has a pretty different go-to-market motion and chassis architecture than what you do in a PC.
Okay, and there is a follow-on question, I guess, which is, for Nick. Will we see HP Inc. partnering with third-party server brands, other brands that currently you compete with?
Yeah, I think the reality is that happens today, and our partners here know that. There are often deals where our enterprise services business and our partners and our end users will take HP hardware, whether it's client devices or server and storage devices, and mix and match them with others. So we think we're going to continue to offer choice to partners and to end users. I think agreeing with Bill's comments on the separation of the go-to-market, which is critical for our partners in the room. And the reality is also today, I had this question. I was in Beijing a few weeks ago, and one of our largest partners said, well, am I no longer going to consider you as one HP? And I said, how many account managers do you have? And that person said, well, actually, I do have two today. I have one for PPS and I have one for EG. So from a customer point of view, as importantly a partner and a distribution point of view, there's not really going to be a visible change in how we go to market and in the focus we have on the channel.
Okay. Nicole, is there one for you?
There's the Chinese question I really want to ask. 惠普最近发布的 3D 打印机将如何跟市场现有的 3D 打印机厂商竞争? So the question is, so the 3D printer you recently launched, how are you going to compete with the existing 3D printer provider?
Sure. Very simple. So our 3D printing solution, we are the printing company in the world, and so we were always going to be in 3D printing. Our approach was wait and see what technology was available elsewhere as we developed our own. We were down the path of developing technology that's very similar to what's available today. Then we realized that that's not HP. HP is about innovation, making it better. And so the 3D printing solution that we announced is about 10 times faster than today's 3D printers, and the quality is much, much better. And so, we've bought everybody else's 3D printers, we've pulled them apart, we've tested them. I don't know how many have had experience with a 3D printer, but printing something probably about the size of your fist today is about a 24-hour process. And so the promise of 3D printing is awesome. The reality of 3D printing is very, very cumbersome, and it's a bleeding edge technology today. Our approach will not be consumer 3D printing to start with. If you fast forward 5, 10, 15 years, I think we'll get there. But it's initially larger, more expensive machines, and they'll follow a similar process and work through partners as we do today with some of our GSB business, our professional graphics business, where there are bureaus and service providers that purchase large machines. Today in professional graphics, we sell $1 million machines. This is obviously not a $1 million machine, but giving access to more people, giving access to 3D printing to more people via these service bureaus is the right model to enable very rapidly more and more people using 3D printing.
Do you think the early opportunity is vertical rather than horizontal for 3D printing?
It'll be vertical, but I also believe, that's a yes and yes answer. It's both. It's a vertical opportunity. So primarily manufacturing, medical usage, spare parts. We've already done tests, and you can print body parts as well, obviously. So there's whether you call that vertical or horizontal. Then there's a flip: is how do you get that to market? And that's where our partner community comes in. And in our professional graphics business, we've got a very strong partner community that goes to market, and we're going to look at it the same way.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know if Bill wants to add.
No, it's
something.
good. I agree with you.
Next question. How does a huge services division help solution provider partners?
You know, it's a great question. So when you look at our huge services business, its market position is less than 2% of the overall addressable service business for the markets that we play in. But what it does do is it ensures that we are eating our own dog food. The services opportunities that we see and are asking you to invest in are the same services areas that we're investing in. It means that I've got blueprints, I've got reference designs, I've got expertise, so that as, for example, you're building out your private cloud practice, which I think is a huge opportunity, we've done it as well, and we can build higher quality blueprints and service and help you build higher quality service practices as a result. You take in private cloud, Forrester represented us as the market leader in private cloud. We are one throat to choke from software to infrastructure to enable that. And then through and with you, for example, with our cloud systems and now our Helion offerings, you can build out the practices to help customers build out their own private clouds, whether that be a commercial account or a service provider.
Do you think partners need to step up in their own professional services to take advantage of that, or do you think they're?
You know, it's a great question. You know, the thing that's so interesting and why I love discussions like this and frankly some of the roundtables that I'll have the privilege of having with you later today is the last 10 years we've moved the channel as a channel, and what we've moved as a vendor community is the amount of innovation and disruption was such that instead of being a value-added reseller, where it was value-added, it became value-added reseller. And the discussion is much more around the transaction as opposed to the value-add. And that's true on our side as well. When I go in, you go in, whether it be global accounts, commercial accounts, SMB, there is so much value-add necessary to be able to enable them to run their traditional IT more efficiently and seamlessly transition to the new. You look at the market caps of whether it be a distributors or some of the large-scale VARs globally, those market caps are increasing again in a meaningful way. Why is that? The reason is because at the end of the day, our mutual customers need that value add. And our responsibility is to provide you with the right innovations and the right blueprints so that you can provide that value add. Because I've spent my entire professional career building out products and services into inflection points, and this is a monster one, and there is a lot of value add out there that needs to be delivered to those customers to get from point A to point B. And the last thing is, they're not asking about the what anymore. You know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, if we had this conference, the conversations that I would be having with customers would have been more about the what. What should I do? What should I do on how to re-platform my app? What should I do relative to cloud? Should I just go to AWS or not? The question is no longer about that. Hybrid cloud is the right answer. The question now is not with customers about what cloud. It is how do I take advantage of the multi-tenancy, the self-service, and an outcome-based business model that a cloud affords inside the firewall and outside the firewall. And that's why the partnerships that exist between HP and you all is so, so important. So thank you so much. I think that's the last one, right?
Yeah, we're out of time.
Go check out our booth out there. We got a bunch of breakouts and a whole bunch of very passionate, knowledgeable HP people around here that would love to help you in your journey to the new style of IT.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
Great.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.